Thank you for watching my videos, and this is exactly why I do, because community deserves to know the full truth. And unfortunately, their lawyer and their accountant and the administrators love to paint me as I'm a liar, I'm giving misinformation, and I'm just crazy. Well, that's fine. I know that I have a spark of insanity and I mustn't lose it. So, this is why I advocate. But this is where this documentation came from. It came from this. Now, mind you, this is from 2012, 2014. And if you go through these documents on the State Board of Accounts, which is who does all their audits as to why their money's not being reported, and it ain't being reported correctly, and late, by the way, which a lot of their reports are turned in late, and for the past couple years, they actually haven't even turned their documentation in. They don't want to turn it in because they're hoping that the referendum goes through so it gives them some money so they can correct what may be missing. But yeah, in this document, it makes it very crystal clear. And when you read through a lot of these documents, it makes it very crystal clear that there are tools, there are resources, there are procedures that the state implements specifically so they can manage money properly and correctly. Now, in this document, I wouldn't say document, but it's a newspaper article that's not from around here. It's very crystal clear that the state actually made very sure that that the public knew that there are tools and resources and procedures that are in place to stop the mishandling of simple funds from like fundraising, concession stands, and all of these things to larger money from their sponsors, which are their teachers. And some of the documentation says that some of the teachers were buying themselves dinners and lunches, and there were some traveling expenses that shouldn't be there. Kind of like the 18% of all the schools shouldn't be collecting free lunches. So in other words, those students should be on a reduced lunch, not a free lunch, which would save the school district thousands of dollars a year, but they were never reported as to be removed or put down on a reduced lunch. But obviously our superintendent here says, well, this is typical pattern that goes on in small communities and small districts. Now, I don't know about you, but in a couple live stream on their school board meeting, they called me the Lake Station liar, told me that I was lying, but they also openly admitted they don't know where the $1,500 a month from Polk Elementary School is going. They said, we don't know. It could be going on trucks. That's a problem, because if they can't manage $1,500 and they can't manage small concession stand funds that are cash and check, and we know that they can't do this because all of their audits and reports show them to be liars. So why their lawyer and their accountants are saying, just come to us, ask us, that's so they can manipulate and omit what information is really out here. And that's why I use this website, which is the State Board of Accounts. That's their job, that's their duty. So click on audit reports, you click on that, you'll simply come to the information, fill it in with Lake Station, Lake County, and it's a school, and hit enter. And then you will find all the PDF files here, when they were, how long it took them to figure out where the money went and what went on. It will also, as to say, like, these are federal, so they're paying very close attention to funds, and why they're disappearing is beyond them. And other supplemental things like grants and stuff of that nature. But as you see here, it took them 2 years. It's a federal single audit. Financial, and yes, some school districts go through this, but not to the extent that Lake Station schools are. But however, regardless of what so-called misinformation that I'm giving, I'm not. It's actual resources, and the only reasoning that I can muster up as to why the school lawyer and school accountant administrators only want you to come to them is probably because they don't want you to find these resources. Now, these resources are open to the public. It's called the APRA law. You can look it up. It's open to the public, and the reason it's open to the public is so that the the community, the residents can hold, the public can hold our school administrators and our public officials accountable. And that's what this is for. And so, but here it says that the audit also found several credit card payments that were made to vendors that did not have detailed invoices. Now, this is kind of important because this is simple fund transactions. Well, we thought we could do it. Wrong. They know that there are forms. There are SA9s and all kinds of other things, SA1s and 3s, and all these forms that they are supposed to fill out. And I know this because as a chairman of a political party here, I also have those forms. So I don't care if I'm buying a piece of bubble gum, I have to itemize that for county and the state to know what's going on with the money. And if not, I have to show accountability to not just those underneath me, to those that I represent, but also to the residents. And so that's why this is important. But if you see, 12 to 13 travel claims were not in compliance, meaning there was just some traveling expenses that disappeared. 2 of them exceeded $40 a day, which it doesn't seem like much, right? $40 here, $12 there. That's the little bit of money, but that's the kind of stuff that adds up. And over a couple of years' time, when it continues throughout the year or per day, that's a lot of money that's missing. Now, people say that they know what they're doing because they have an MBA in accounting and they're well educated. Quite frankly, the superintendent and all of them should not have educational degrees because they're really not educated. As far as, well, what are they really educating, right? Technically, they're the finance, the business side, so they should all have business degrees in accounting. And here's why. Because right here it says the school corporation was not aware that differences existed between the reconciled bank balances and the cash fund balances, meaning what was in the bank and what was reported and what they had in cash were 2 different stories. Yeah. But this is why I do what I do, because the community needs to know this stuff. Now, here's the real kicker. So they have educational fees, and if you read through these reports, it tells you what they're looking at and why they're doing their audit. It could be educational fees, it could be grants, it could be just other things. But read this. It says the physical education teacher charges in excess for the cost of bowling, skating, and gym uniforms. Additionally, the school board has not approved the fees charged for these things. The physical education teacher also holds fundraisers to accumulate funds to purchase the equipment. These purchases are additional curriculum expenses and should have been accounted for in the school corporation records, meaning they think they can get away with doing things under the table, collecting some money, overcharging for certain things when they shouldn't be from the community, and then it's technically supposed to be registered up as curriculum expenses because that's where it's supposed to be. Now on this, you'll see that there's disbursements. Sponsors just specifically means teachers. It could be teachers, whatever the case is. They know that there's stuff missing. Documents was not provided that the school board approved the fee. There was all these policies and procedures, but they're not fixing or they're not stopping it. And if you read here, and you're more than welcome to pause it, read these 4. This is for receipt deficiencies. This is a very big problem. So it's not just me giving it misinformation. This is truth and factual stuff of what they found against the administrators, and this goes on for years. And quite frankly, recently, they're behind about a year or 2 of reporting. So this is why I do what I do. I don't paint lies. I'm just finding the money. This is why they want everybody to come to the school so they can omit and redirect people's information and how they find things. But this is why I do what I do for the community. And you can see for yourself.